I've created less videos recently as I conserve my energy, do different things, and supporting my daughter through her exam period of her life, try to mitigate some of the stresses on her, and really just doing random things, working on different projects. So it's not, for me, it's not always going to be video content I do. To be honest, there's certain parts of video content that irritate the living crap out of me, to be, in all honesty, and it's what I see others doing. And I've been trying my best not to be triggered, even though it triggers me. But I've been trying to not react publicly, so not do videos on it. I'm just trying to let it go, just ignore it. But it's so prevalent in the world. I'll say at the moment, but perhaps it's always been. But I'm becoming more tuned to it because I'm very perceptive. I pick up on so many things. So like once my mind focuses on something, I can't let it go. And I'm seeing so many content creators. It's going to make me look like a bit anal retentive, really, but maybe I am. But they repeat words all the time, and it's really unnecessary words. And you only have to open your ears. So you don't use your eyes, use your ears. Don't want to ruin content for everybody, but it's just, this is the standards that people should be at, though. I see them. There's an arrogance to some content creators. Again, you could probably put that down to me too. I don't know. But I don't come at it from a direction of trying to be arrogant. I don't try and be better than anyone else. It's just raise awareness to hopefully improve others too. The real problem with content creators in general is the average content creator is a copycat of someone else. I'm absolutely original. I'm not influenced by other people. I do my own thing. And I don't like to be influenced, really. I like to just, stay in my own lane. But there's so many people that are copycats. They see someone successful here or they see an opportunity there and they all just jump on it. So they mirror what they see and what they hear. And it's quite evident. You can see, you know what it is? You can see the copycats a mile away. They say literally all the time. Why'd they say literally? Because literally started becoming a bit popular in the phrase. I don't know how long ago, but it did. And now some content creators say it all the time because they think it gives it punch, gravitas. And it doesn't. For me, it just takes away whatever conversation you're trying to have and the impact you're trying to have. It just completely derails it because I switch off. It doesn't matter how high profile the content creator is. As soon as they start saying basically repeatedly, they start to say literally or any other of these unnecessarities, I will just switch off immediately and I don't care their status at all. I don't even care how interested the content is because I know it's not this once. You do it now, you're going to do that a million times, and they do. And then you look at and you see the content over and over again, the new content they create, and they do it again. So they think that's a really important part of their content creation, yet it devalues what they're doing because so many people are doing it anyway. It's cheap. I don't like. I'm trying not to. I've been holding this in for ages. If it looks like I'm being really spiteful, it's because I've been really holding this in. My daughter hears me moan about it, and even she picked up on it like recently. She said, "Oh my god!" And then she explained it, and she knew I ruined it for her because now she can't. You can't once you're attuned to it, you can't just switch off from it. But again, I think that's what sets people apart in their content creation. You've got the amateur hour, who sometimes these amateurs actually posture as being leaders in the field. And I see through them straight away. I'm like, you're not a leader. You're not a leader. You're a follower and you're just a copycat. That's fine. That's what you want to get by. But the leaders are the ones who refine their content. You watch what you do back because you want to be better than the previous. So you're always attuning to a higher standard. The lazy ones don't. Because I can't help but think, okay, you do it once or twice in a video. I've done it before in the past. It's just something I've either heard someone say it, so it's influenced me a little bit, and I didn't want to be influenced. But you hear something, sometimes it gets ingrained in your head. But I'm someone who picks up on it, even if I do it. So, and I've done a video in the past where I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I shouldn't have said that. That's annoying. I won't do that in the following video, and I didn't because I watch my content back and find errors, and I try to improve all the time. But these other ones are lazy. So I don't think this is what I think. I think they create their content and they think they're so great, like the sun shines out their arse, and they can just keep turning up. They can just keep turning up and they don't even have to be accountable. And everybody's just gonna gobble it up and love them for it. But they can't even be bothered to watch their own content and expect you to watch the content, you know? And if they watched it, I can't help but think, how the hell can you watch that and not pick up on it yourself and go, you know what? Just internally, not public statement about yourself, putting yourself down. It's just internally you'd look and go, oh, yeah, I shouldn't really keep saying that. I've said that quite a bit now. Oh, might want to tone that back. Instead, if they do watch their content back and they think, oh, this sounds great, it's like, well, I don't know what planet they're on. Now, I know this is quite a negative beginning, and I get it. So this video is going to be all over the place, by the way, because I'm not creating a lot of content. There's a lot of things bubbling up in my mind at the moment, so I'll have to stay on point when I haven't made points. Again, my own fault. I probably should start at some point, make some sort of checklist that I can just read off on the side. Not like a script, but maybe just a checklist of topics so I stay on point, because I know I'm going to forget something and then go, oh, for crying out loud. Slightly the same with my books. That specific topic there is something I feel very strongly about. This repetition of words, like basically, literally. There's a famous football player who's got a very popular podcast video, like on YouTube, like hugely impressive. And yet they're the weakest of the lot. Very intelligent in terms of what he's talking about, but when his delivery is amateur hour, and I can't even listen anymore. I'm not going to say the name. I mean, obviously I could if I wanted to, but I don't even care enough to do so. But he says, to be fair, this is what he says all the time. To be fair, basically, he doesn't say literally, but it's always to be fair, basically. And there's another word he says, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's all every other sentence. And it's just, I can't hear someone say basically and then say what they got to say. And then to be fair, and then basically, it's like, you don't need this shit. Take that out. Don't say that, and everything you say will be absolutely incredible. But they can't stop doing it, and I can't stop hearing it. So they completely devalue. Then I see them on TV doing the same thing, and I'm thinking, Jesus, is no one going to pull them up on this? Like, that's poor. That's very, very poor. I don't understand how they're getting by like that. But again, I have done it briefly in a chapter. I think I spoke on it slightly in a chapter in one of my books. But I'm not going to write a whole book just because I want to point that out, because I think it's going to help people. It will, the people who want to improve their content and they want to elevate, heeding that advice will elevate their content 10 times. It will set them apart from everybody else, because everybody else is doing all this nonsense. Everybody else is creating this weak content. If you don't do that and don't follow the path of these people who are really pretty poor, amateur hour, I call it, then you're going to be higher standard. It isn't intelligent to put silly words in the middle of things. I did write somewhere. I think I've done a whole thing. I might have already mentioned it in a previous video, but I really want to ingrain it in people's minds. Like, just keep it on point. I've said it here. I did it in my last video, but I can't let it go because it's fresh with me now. I've even done it bothers me that much. I've done a whole section on my website just to point it out, because hopefully if someone comes to my website, that means they're interested in something I'm doing. And then maybe there's something they want to learn, or, you know, just evolve, like experience. Perhaps if I can just tell them this one little thing, you might just hopefully go away and consider it. So I've put the word literally has been overused lately with so many people on social media, even in everyday life, saying literally to anything. Again, I'm specifically saying literally here, but it's basically, it's all these other words that are just shit. But, you know, I can't handle it. I'll carry on this in a minute, but again, this one was, even if, this is the thing with me, you're going to see this in life if opportunities come, because I can't tolerate things. And even if I don't say it, you'll see it in my body language. I can't not express because it bothers me too much. So let's say you was let's say you was on a TV show, or you was on some news program, or let's say you was on a podcast, a visual podcast. You could be with some of the greatest minds in the world, and it might be like, this is incredibly insightful, this is deep, it's introspective. There's going to be so much growth and development from this. But if I'm sitting with someone who says basically every other sentence, or they say it quite frequent, or literally, you'll see me be uncomfortable. I might not want to say it out loud because I won't want to derail them or point them out publicly and humiliate anybody, or make a whole point and derail the conversation. But you'll see me uncomfortable, and there's a chance I'll switch off, because I can't listen to someone that does that. I have to find a safe space in my mind where I don't have to hear it. So it's just one of those things. I can't put up with it. So personally, I would have to research a person. If I was ever to be in a situation like that, I would need to do my research on them, whether I can collaborate with it or not. Because if I do, for instance, let's say he was invited on something and I go and check out their content and I see they frequently do that, there's no point. Because I can't take them serious. It doesn't matter how high their status is, and it doesn't matter how intelligent they are in their experience. If they're going to keep being sloppy, I can't sit with it. It's not comfortable for me. I can't do it. Again, even I said at the beginning there, maybe I'm just being anal retentive, but these are standards that I can't budge on. And it wouldn't be good me sitting there going, like, just in my head, just thinking this is shit. Like, and that's what I'd be thinking. Doesn't matter how deep the conversation is. This is amateur hour. I'm not interested in amateur hour. So I can't be around people like that, even in everyday conversation. I couldn't even have a conversation with a family member or anybody close to me if they're going to talk like that. If I'm going to hear someone say basically at the beginning of a sentence or literally continuously, I'm not even talking to them. I won't. So even in basic life, everyday life, I can't put up with it. So that's just my standards. I can't budge on that, you know. So anyway, just you can see how much it bothers me. It bothers me like so much. So, but quite often it's misused, making statements laughable, such as "I'm literally over the moon," which would imply that the person is above the moon, because that's what literally is. It's stating as fact. This is a factual statement. So, if you're factually over the moon, it would suggest then, because you've made that grand statement that it's a literal situation, it means you are over the moon, the actual moon. So you can go, oh, no, I don't mean that. No. That's the only meaning it can have. Because by adding the literally, you've added that weight to it and you've made that a defined response. That is exactly what's happening. And that's why it's so pointless. Let's say it's something I can't even think of top of my head. You couldn't, even with the pot of Pringles. I mean, I could say I'm going to eat my pot of Pringles, but a lot of people say I'm literally going to eat my Pringles. What? Why has it got to be a literal thing? Why can't you just say I'm going to eat my Pringles? I don't understand why it's got to be. I've got to literally eat my Pringles. I'm going to literally read a book. I can't believe it. Literally reading a book. It's like literally wear my headphones. It's like this is what I'm saying. It's just so pointless. It adds no weight or depth to anything. It's just so shit. It's just crazy to me. Yeah, I think it's personally people want to seem more intelligent than they are, or they're overcompensating somehow. I could go further with that. It's going to drive me nuts if I keep going near it. I've got to leave literally alone for a bit. So like I said, there's a few areas I was going to go in with this video. I just can't remember everything I was going to do. One thing I want to talk about, and I don't do anything for effects. I don't say, oh, look at this, to make you look at that. I've never been like that. I'm not interested in it. I don't do self-promotion. Just what you see is what you get. You see the raw side continuously, really, for good and bad. Some people might look at the beginning stage of this video and think, what a freaking arsehole. And I'd get it. But then other people would perhaps look and think, yeah, I can learn a thing or two from this because actually, yeah, that makes sense. So, you can't the reality is in life, we can't appease everyone. You can't be liked by everyone. You're not really going to be hated by everyone, even if perhaps sometimes you feel you are. That's not really the case at all. So, yeah, just be yourself. So, as I said at the beginning, a bit self-deprecating. So far, that hasn't been deprecating to self. It's been more an observation of others. So, like my books, I've done 7. I've got more on the way. I've stopped development for a moment because I'm enjoying myself a little bit more in life, trying to at least relax, even though I'm exhausted. And I've got other projects on the go. But I think one of the issues you have, I don't think it matters what book it is. If you was to reread a book multiple times, you'd soon get tired. So I've reached a bit of a phase with my own books where I can't discern now. I loved them, absolutely loved them. I still do, But now when I'm go to read them, I don't know if they're as good as I think they are. That's a bit uncomfortable for me at the moment. It's like I'm trying to ascertain whether I'm good enough at what I do to continue doing it. Like, it doesn't mean I wouldn't finish the books I'm doing and I wouldn't feel they're good enough. It's more, how much more do I have in the tank? That's what it comes down to. So that's really where I'm up to at the moment, especially even with the videos. I've done, if you go on YouTube, we've got like 700 and something videos. It's like, how many more do I have? And before I was just going full steam ahead, like video, 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 video. And since then, recently I've just took a step back and I'm looking, thinking I've covered so many topics. You know, the whole purpose was to open people's eyes to life in general and other aspects of their, you know, personalities and the things that set us back and personal growth and development. There's all those things, just trying to raise awareness even in society and in spirituality, our purpose, the reason for being here, and all these different things. That was the whole purpose of everything. But I just feel like I've done everything. And like I said, that topic about literally and basically and all that, I could do a whole deep topic on that and go on a huge tangent. But reality is, the topics around it, though, I've already covered in my other books. And I decided, I haven't got it with me here, my latest one, Follow Your Dreams to Spark Your Soul. That's really the last one in my personal development books. I have nothing else in me to say. There's the odd thing, but not enough chapters. You'd need about 30 topics. I haven't got 30 new topics to talk about at the moment. I've always said this, if I have a breakthrough in life and I have a new experience, so I get to travel a lot, I get a life of luxury, I get a life of opportunities, this comes in, then I can talk about that. I can write about that. It'd be another book to show what's on the other side of this development. This is the breakthrough phase now. And there'd be a whole book I'd do on that, talking about it, not trying to do it. It wouldn't be in a way that's sort of like trying to be above anyone or boast about anything. It's more like just showing the results. This is what happens on the other side of believing in yourself, you know, and just constantly going after your dreams, not succumbing to peer pressure and all those things. So there will be, hopefully, be a book of like that one day, but it would be more, I mean, perhaps I could put all that literally stuff in a book like that because it would show the progress from going from like what I'd call amateur hour to elevating your content. Now, we can all grow. I haven't done my videos for a while, so this might be my laziest video. It might seem like my laziest because I haven't had the consistency on being on camera. You know, when you're doing it every day, it just flows. This might seem more fragmented. I don't know. But quite often, I think some videos are an absolute train wreck, and I watch it back, and I'm quite entertained, to be totally honest. I think that's a good video. Because believe me, if there's 700 and something videos on my YouTube channel, I've watched every single one of them from beginning through to end. Because that's what I do, not for personal gratification and going, oh, look at you. No, I watch it because it's important I watch what other people will see. And it's the same with my books. As soon as I finish writing a book, I read it. Even though I'm aware of what the book's content is, I've edited over and over again. You know, I fine-tuned and fine-tuned and fine-tuned, and yet I still read it. And I read it multiple times, not one after another. I don't read it and then go open chapter 1. No, but I will come back at a later date and read it again. So, me, I'm all about personal development. Personal development comes from keep fine-tuning and working on ourselves, doesn't it? Fine-tuning a craft, but fine-tuning ourselves. Be more balanced. So, yeah, like, within me, I'm becoming more I'm always more balanced every day, you know. In the past, perhaps if something bothered me, I'd be more vocal to the person. Nowadays, I just can't be bothered. I can't bother to ruin their day. I can't bother to get thrown off course. So now I'll just move on, you know, rather than raise awareness to it. But I might do a public video here about calling people out specific, but yeah, I can't be bothered really to engage with nonsense. So I just don't bother really. Like I say, with the books, I'm not, this isn't the best way of promoting your books, is it? So I don't know if they're any good anymore. I just don't know. I think sometimes it's for other people to discern standards, levels, whether something, a bit like where I'm watching some other people's content. I think, well, that could be better. I'm sure there's a lot of what I could do that could be better. And it's usually what other people would notice rather than ourselves, isn't it? So we can be as observant as we can, but there's still perhaps things that would get missed. But with me, I think the issue I've got with the books now is the fact that I've just read them so much that now I pick up on all the things that are wrong. So, for instance, I can pick apart, if I'm going to pick apart other people, I should be able to pick apart myself, shouldn't I? My book, Find Your Peace to Save Your Soul, actually annoys me. Being honest, it actually annoys me. It gets good, but I'd say first 3 chapters are quite repetitive, and it was hard for me to read that because there was a reason. I know why they were repetitive, but now in hindsight, from a creative point of view, I wish I hadn't done that. There was a period about, I don't know, a few months ago, maybe late last year. I can't remember exactly when. I thought, I'm going to edit this. It's already released, but I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to maybe chop a few of these chapters out. Instead of the first 3 chapters, we'll just make it 1 chapter, and I'll try and combine them somehow. And I was editing it. What happened is I started butchering the whole book. No, I didn't get through the whole book. I just, through them chapters, then I started going on to another chapter. And what it was, I was just altering the entire book. And I just thought, no, that wasn't the point. It wasn't the point. Because you can do that with any piece of work. I mean, even if you took someone else's, even if you went through another author's book, you could easily just start chopping things and say, oh, this would be better like this. It doesn't end. At some point, you just got to make peace and say, look, this is the delivery I've created. This is the work I've done. And this is how I've presented it. And it's just make peace with it. But yeah, I think I don't know if it'll be hard for other people to get through the first 3 chapters, but it was quite hard for me. And I'll explain why it was so. That book, Find Your Peace to Save Your Soul, came from witnessing so much hate in the world. And I really thought I'd done with these books in terms of what I'd been doing. I did 2 on my personal trauma, going through family court with my daughter, and then the aftermath of that. Then I've done a book on spirituality. And then from there, I realized there's people that need healing. They need help with life, and if they're not on a spiritual path, they're not going to get the help because I haven't done a book to do that, So I thought I'd do a book, which was Heal Your Mind for Your Soul, this book. That was my way of just trying to reach out to people and say, look, this is life, this is how you overcome this, and just don't take this too serious. And, it's all these different things because I just wanted people to be able to have a book that's doesn't indoctrinate anyone, Even with my spiritual book, I wasn't trying to convince anyone of anything or try and tell people to be this way, to be that way. Because I don't think it's not the right way to be. People should be able to just absorb information and then make decisions for themselves. It's not to say, you must do this, you must do that. You must be this, you must be this. That's not right. You must be true to yourself. But it's like, take on information and then discern for yourself what you think is true and valid and what would help you in life in general, And then try to be the best version of yourself. That's really where we need to be. Not everybody's going to be spiritual in this life. And guess what? It's fine. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to believe in anything other than yourself. But I think believing in yourself is a good start anyway, isn't it? So who knows where that leads? And that's what I'm saying. So that's where that came. And then I had more to do. So that's how Inspire Your Mind to Enlighten Your Soul came. But from the point of personal growth development, it was only ever supposed to be them. Well, really, the first one, really. But then I was like, okay, I got more to say. And I was actually done with it at that point. I was like, I don't know when I think I'll do another spiritual book later. I'm not sure really what's coming next. And I just started seeing, especially on social media, I'd left social media, come back, and I didn't realize how much hate was on social media at the time. Crime everywhere, just gang life, all this other shit. And it's just no one's respecting anyone. There's always this thefts and it's this no community. And I just felt, right, okay, I'm going to have to do another book. But I'm going to have to specifically define this topic, which I did. And that's really why there was a repetition of the first 3 chapters. Because I really wanted people to find the value in themselves. But I think I overemphasized it by covering it multiple times in different worded, slightly different, but it was similar. But the 3 chapters are very similar to each other. So now, from a creative point of view, I wish I'd just said it at once. It's because it meant so much to me, that point of kindness to ourselves. Because, wait a minute, I've got bugs everywhere. If we invest in ourselves and we can truly appreciate who we are, then we have the capacity to extend kindness, and we can become the better version of ourselves. But by extension, we can influence in a positive way others, even if it's not directly. It's just sometimes people can see what you're doing, how you carry yourself, and it's impressionable. So I just think by investing in ourselves, we can instigate improvements in the world. It seems big, a big statement, but you have to do it locally first, don't we? And then it spreads out. So rather than have all this hate, all this fear, and all those things happening that's been allowed to sort of manifest and gravitate and create this situation where everybody's divided and there's no respect, it was about respect yourself. Let's start there. And you don't know who you can impact. Then maybe there's some of those people who do bad things, perhaps they'll start reflecting on their own life and start to do good things, And all of a sudden the world starts to heal and change. But unfortunately, like I said, the first 3 chapters are hard for me. So again, that influenced my opinion on the book, overall now because of that. But then as I got past that, I thought, okay, the book's getting better now. It's getting good, which is why I wanted to hack at those chapters. But in the end, I was like, you've got to just leave it. Just leave that book. Leave it as it is. People might appreciate it, they might not. It's not for me to decide for that. Again, because I've read it. I've read it so much that I've picked up on it. If I picked up on it initially, then it obviously wouldn't be there. But I didn't pick up on it because it was how I wanted it to be said in the first place. But again, now I've mentioned it. If anyone ever reads that, they're probably going to pick up on it too now. Is what it is. My recent book, Follow Your Dream, Sparkle Your Soul, I absolutely love that. So I'm really proud. So that's a good thing, though. It's like sometimes we have like a moment where you think, maybe that's not my best work, or I could have done better with this, better with that. But it's only sections, you know. Like, for instance, it could be just a chapter, and it's not too many chapters, you know. Maybe just one chapter or two isn't your best chapters, but there might be a golden one in there somewhere. And that's just it, isn't it? I think with Follow Your Dreams, it's just nice that my last book, my most recent book, is something I'm deeply proud of. And then we still got the follow-up books. No, I'm not saying... I don't doubt my ability to storytell. My book on, I can't remember what, yeah, Freedom and Politics. I get so cool, so messed up sometimes thinking about what I'm doing. I'm doing so many different things. But because I haven't worked on this one for a couple of months now. But the work I was doing was great. I've done a chapter on Michael Jackson. I've done a chapter on Princess Diana, because these are about healers in the world, you know, healing. And I'm not going to go too deep in that. And there was other areas I was going with, like politics, society, how I think we can heal the world, and all those different things. But it's quite deep, and it's very, very complicated. Because with my book so far, I've been able to just speak from thought, like right from thought. So whatever I'm thinking of a situation, that's what I'll talk about. My perception on life, my perception of development, all these different things, or the things I've been through. That's all memory. It's just all in me. I don't even have to worry about anything. Whatever I'm thinking, let's do this. With these other topics, with this other book, it means I've got to quote things. I've got to do some research, and it's more effort than I want at the moment, personally. It's not something I'm prepared to just sink myself into and lose in other areas, obsess over it, almost like, you know, I'm not prepared to obsess over it right now. And that's what it will take to finish. So I said by July, previously, when I'd finished my previous book in January, it's definitely not coming out in July. I've got a holiday coming up. I'm not even working on it right now. I don't even know I don't know if that one specifically is going to be this year or not. It really, I don't know. We'll see how it all develops. I will get back to writing on it soon. But what I would say is the work I've done so far, I absolutely love. So that's a positive, isn't it? So where I think is my work good enough? From my point of view, it's good enough for me. It's whether it's good enough for the rest of the world and for other people. But like, say, when I read the chapters and I'm reading the paragraphs and I'm going through it, I'm thinking, this is great. Because you forget you write it, you know, you come back to it. You start reading it and you go, oh, I love this. Or wait a minute, change that, delete that paragraph, or restructure this. It's good to come in fresh lens, you know. But there's plenty in there where I'm just thinking, this is great. I can't believe he wrote this. This is great. I love it. And I've got my next spiritual book as well in development too. But we'll get onto that in a moment, in the sense that I've got my tarot cards and I've already asked, that's the one I wanted to work on, because that's easier for me, because I'm just talking about my experiences and how I perceive this topic and this topic. But I did ask specifically before, through my cards, which book should I be working on? So which book should come next? And it was the Freedom and Politics book, not the spiritual book. I was like, oh, I wanted to do this one, because this one I can do. This one I can do quite easy. The other one's more of an effort. All right. But anyway, that's the timeline of events. So I'm trying to think what everything I've got topics covered here. We'll keep them there because I remember the spiritual bit in a minute. The other side of everything we do is I don't get to see the impact I have on people, and I don't think I impact too many anyway, because I do keep an eye on things. I see how many books have been sold, or so few books have been sold, or none at times, quite often, and the lack of views on my YouTube. So how can I have an influence on the world when no one's seeing anything? Well, again, we'll get to that in a minute with the spiritual part. But from my point of view, yeah, I'm not having influence there. But one thing I do get to see is the influence I have on my daughter. And it is remarkable. You know, I would never take credit for her as a person, because she's the one that has to implement things. She's the one that has to overcome situations and make decisions for herself, you know. But she's a beautiful example of humanity. You know, I have a hard time sometimes in the sense that I do everything for the right reasons. I'm not corrupt. And yet I would suggest that the majority of the world is corrupt. And I find it really, really hard sometimes, like living amongst it and even wanting to contribute something positive, because I feel it falls on deaf ears and it's a waste of my time and energy, even though like the whole premise is to help and create change. I get to witness the change within my daughter in a positive, very, very beautiful, positive way. So obviously she comes first in everything I do. But sometimes it's just, is it worth extending it to others? And I think it is, which is why I do what I do. Because I see the help, what it does for her, I recognize some people don't have role models. So what I do with her, I try to showcase to others through my books, through the videos I do, and even if websites and stuff. It's really just putting that advice that I give her into other forms for others to have sort of that source of light, I guess, or just someone to have a positive influence. Now, again, some people see me as a negative influence, probably. I don't really know, because I can't tell you how people see me. But, for instance, if I just talk briefly here, I'm not going to go too much of a tangent. We've both had our traumas. We've both had a hard life. Even if I look at childhood, I had a separation from my natural father from about 5. I think it's 5, between 3 and 5. I don't even know the age at this point. And I've never seen him since. So I've had that alienation from a parent. And I've experienced it for my whole life. Now, it doesn't bother me. And again, I speak to my daughter about this. So a lot of times people act like something doesn't bother them, and deep down it does. But with me, when I say it, I mean it. I'm not someone who has this underlying issue. I don't have that. If I say it, I mean it. I'm very transparent. If I'm upset, I'll say I'm upset. If it bothers me even just a little bit, I'll say it still bothers me a little. I don't care to lie. So when I say something doesn't bother me, you can best believe it doesn't bother me. My mum has always been my rock in my life. She's someone I can just talk to about anything. Doesn't always agree with me on things. In fact, most of the time she doesn't, because she doesn't quite understand how I perceive the results. It doesn't seem logical to her. But she still doesn't put the pressure on me, because she knows how I'll react anyway, because I can be quite fiery. So I don't let people, because I don't like being boxed in. So really, it's either join me or fight me. That's really how that goes, really. It's just so we can have a battle or not. And it's just, my mum's never really been like that, battling. And it's been nice because I've never had to, well, very rarely, sometimes she doesn't quite understand, but that's the limit of it, really. With my daughter, I've actively encouraged her to be herself. It's not like she's had to say something and then hope that I understand. I've actively encouraged her. So by the time she even decides anything, she already knows I'm on board. You do you, because I know what it's like to feel suffocated, in life. Because my stepdad was very, very more regimented. He just wanted the best for people, but it was just completely different to me. It was more career, do this, be this, always be present, always do this, always. And it's like, I don't want to be like that, though. I don't want to be like that. If I want to be out of work for periods of my life, I'll be out of work for periods of my life. I don't care about the financial hit. That doesn't bother me. That's not my life. And with other people, they're everything. They can't understand it. And they can't tolerate it. And it's like, yeah, but my life's my life. You don't have to worry about how I live. I don't like that, where you have to live to a standard of someone else sets, because that's the life they expect of everyone. It's like, but my life's mine. It's not yours. I don't care what you expect. And I'm like that with everybody in my life. I don't care about the standards you expect of me. I only have to adhere to what I want for me. It doesn't matter if society agrees or not. I just don't care. And again, these are conversations I have with my daughter. She sees me. I'm probably the most resilient person she knows, because I say that because she has other people who succumb to pressure, and she also struggles, like those people, with, she doesn't like upsetting people. And so she has limits. She's younger, though. I say that to you. You're younger, though, so but either way, you're more sensitive. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just more sensitive. But with me, I genuinely don't care. So if people didn't, if I could, like, a million people could absolutely hate me, I don't care what they think. It doesn't bother me. So I don't need to appease people to do anything, It doesn't influence me. Well, I care. So he's like, because I'm not a soap opera drama. That's the difference. I don't gossip. I don't spend my life, oh, I wonder what this person's doing. Oh, they shouldn't be doing that. Couldn't give a shit. Do what you want. Live your life. You're accountable for your own decisions. I'm not going to sit here and gossip about it every day. I'm just going to do my own thing. So because I'm like that, the idea that other people spend their life gossiping and just, you're the topic of conversation and they want to spend their life talking negatively about you or whatever, it's like, that's up to them. That's sad to me. Like, that's pathetic. Like, why do I care? So if that's the level that someone lives by, why would I care what they think of me? They're not even doing anything. Because if you're spending your life criticizing other people continuously and you're the topic and you create topics of conversation from that, then you're not even getting on with your own life. So what difference does it make with your opinion of someone that is getting on with their life, whether you agree with what they do or not? It's just stupid. So again, that's a single example of it, but even if it weren't even to that depth or that level, it's still the same thing for me. It's just I don't care because I'm not hurting anyone. I'm just doing my own thing. Even if people hated the fact I write my books, who cares? Don't read the books. It's not difficult to turn a blind eye to things, is it? Just don't look. Same way if someone irritates me, I've spoke here on the camera about these things on social media, where literally and basically, but aside from me doing a video there and just talking about it, I just switch off. I could be really enjoying myself and think, this is a good video. Yeah, okay, I can listen to this. And they do it, and I just gone. They don't know I just switched them off, but I bloody well did. But that's the difference. I don't go hammering them in the comments, and I don't go private messaging them, and I don't go just doing a million videos on it every day. Spam, 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 spam. This bothers me. No, it bothers me, and I'll talk about it like maybe once or twice, and I move on. But I'm not going to harass them about it. But this is the standards of life, So some people just can't seem to get their head out of their arse, and they just seem to think their opinion has to be heard by everybody in the sense that I'm going to criticize this person, I'm going to create an army against them. It's like, you sad, pathetic mess. And that's how I feel. So I'm confident walking my own path, knowing other people are just ignorant, ignorant of other people's ability to just be themselves. So these are the strengths I instill in my daughter. And it's been quite beautiful because she really is a beautiful example of humanity, which gives me hope, which is how it allows me to keep doing my content. I think personally, if I didn't have her and I hadn't seen her growth, I don't know if I would have put in the effort I've put in to help people, and being honest, because I don't see enough positivity in the average person. I think it'd be more perhaps survival mode, just getting on with your own thing. Like I said, I just switch off from whatever people are doing, just do your own thing and just keep focused and do it being the best you can be. But because I've seen the growth in her, it gives me hope that others can grow too. Yeah. But yeah, like for instance, she was having like, I consider it panic attacks. I think it was. So she's got exams a couple months ago, back in near Easter, the exams were coming up and she was having breathing problems, having all sorts of things. Now, she's missed a bit of school because we've had her trauma. We've gone through family court. She had trouble adjusting to school, to situation. She wanted to live with me. So her life's been uprooted. People are not listening to her. So at school, she feels like the teachers are just demanding her. They don't really listen. And she's had that her whole life. That's how it feels, at least a section of her life, where she had no control. And just people dominating, and she's fighting against that. Like, I'm not happy doing this. So, and I get it, and I'm like all for it. You do you. So I've tried to help her through that, and I've done the best I can. And there was a period where she was having just a bit too much trouble, and I just said to her, look, this was in a summer holiday, a couple of years ago. I said, what you could do when you go back to school, rather than keep fighting every 2 minutes, because she sees what I'm like. But I've said, look, I don't fight all the time. I don't get into arguments constantly. I pick my battles, only if it means something. I'm not going to, if someone's ignorant, I'm not going to try and persuade them not to be ignorant or try to, sometimes you just got to let someone just be them, but get on with it, So even if you're right, you can just let it go. Forget it. It's not your problem. So there's no point getting involved in every argument. So I said, why don't you just go into school and just see how you get on without really engaging to begin with? And then maybe just talk in a calmer, nicer way, and just see how people react to it. And, she got on better, started getting on better with her teachers. She had the odd issue, but she got on better with her teachers. She's starting to make some friends because she let her guard down. But again, I always said to her as well, be very careful how much you tell people, because people can be spiteful. See, they could be your best friend today. They could be your worst enemy tomorrow. And now they have a lot of ammo against you. because they know your weaknesses. Now, me, I'm older. I don't really give a shit, as you can see. So I wear my heart on my sleeve. I say everything. People can use that as ammo. You can manipulate this, can't you? You could change this situation. This difference with me, I'll be honest. Someone ever said, "Did you say that?" Yeah, I did. If I said it, I'd say it. I don't give a shit in what example it is or what the situation is. I'll always be honest. So, did you say a bit like this situation with Donald Trump? I don't like the guy. I think he's an idiot. So if I had to go through TSA, through the through the airport in America, and I've flown 10 hours, whatever, to go to America, and the TSA agent says to me, like, "What's your views on Trump?" I say he's a dipshit. And that might get me blocked from going into America, because it probably would, because they've gone a bit feral over there in terms of like the way they're protected, way Trump's creating this dictatorship. But I'm not going to sit and lie to someone. I don't lie. So what's the point of asking me the question if I've got to lie to get in? You ask me a question, I'm going to give you an honest answer. If you're not ready for the answer, don't ask the question. And that's what I'm like. So if I'm prepared to go on a 10-hour flight potentially, although I'm not really, but let's say get on, and then I have to deal with that. You best believe in my everyday life, I'm just going to tell people like the truth. Again, don't like it, don't ask it. Solves the problem. Anyway, so she's been getting on about it, but she already missed like 3 years of school. She was off and on. She weren't attending sometimes. But again, she's had a different life to the average person. It's not to say other people haven't suffered trauma and haven't gone through this, but what I would say is she's a beautiful example of someone that has. That's the remarkable thing. Some go regressive, don't they? They get deeply traumatized. They can't develop relationships. You can't develop friendships that go within. They even stop speaking. There's harm. Well, there's all these different things. But she is not like that. She is beautiful, but she has vulnerabilities. So even without this situation, I'd have always favoured her well-being over anything else. I've always said that. I just want you to do the best you can for you. So I'm not someone with these stupid expectations. You must get great grades at school. I honestly couldn't give a shit. I've even said it to her. I said, don't put... Again, we go fast forward now to the exams. I spend time with her Easter. She's getting these weird panic attacks. I'm thinking, this is new. What's going on with you? And she thought she'd have an heart attack. I think I'm watching. I think it's a panic attack. The way it's happening, the way you're behaving, I think it's a panic attack. So we had to go for a little walk. And she managed to calm down a bit. And I was talking to her, trying to figure out what's going on in the situation, because her mum had been taking her to the doctors and all sorts, because she's very much, she's got a different way of dealing with things. She just seems to think everything's medical and doesn't have the deepest insights when it comes to things I talk about. So I'm looking and I'm thinking, I don't think this is a medical thing at all. And I don't think it's a dietary thing either, because they were considering that. Maybe you can't eat this. And I'm thinking, this is just getting stupid. I don't think any of that stuff. I think it's the pressure of the exams. Her friends are in higher set classes, so they're more advanced. Could say more intelligent at this stage with academia. It's fine. Happens. But there's a pressure to keep up with them, because it's the things they talk about. You want to be able to match that. You don't want to seem like the one that's a bit stupid, or you're inadequate or something, inferior. So I had a conversation with her, and I just explained like the path I've taken and the things I've learned in life. And what I would say is for the most part, it's irrelevant. You hear all the time, must get this grade, must get that grade. For what? Put it in context, and this is what I say to her. I didn't get all the grades at school because I didn't focus. It was my own fault. I don't care. Do I look like someone who's embarrassed? Do I look like someone who cares? No. I went to college expecting to do computer programming. It's a 2-year course. I turn up to enroll. They say, unfortunately, you didn't quite get the grades. We can put you on an intermediate computer course. If you pass that, we can then put you on the computer programming the following year. So you just lose a year. Okay, you're adapting anyway. Who knows what the hell you want to do with your life? It's not the end of the world. Everybody just wants to fast forward everything. Oh, I've got to do great, so I'm going to put all this amount of pressure on myself at school, like really deep pressure that pushes people to breaking point, all because I don't want to lose a year of study at college doing something else that will help me develop in other ways anyway. Maybe you're not ready for the higher level yet. Maybe you're not mature enough to have. There's all these different things. Who gives a shit? That's what I said to her. I said, look, worst case scenario, you have to do a different course. Let's say your friends go off to university in a few years. Maybe you decide to go off to university later, and you're just a year behind them. Does that a year behind something? Does it really matter? And most of them you're not going to hear from anyway. You won't even know what they're doing. And it's not a competition or race anyway. So like, let's say you don't get the grade you want. Okay. Not the end of the world. You can do something. You can just do another course for you and you adapt, and you can just You learn at your own pace. I said, the trouble is you've got 3 years behind everybody else anyway. Possible to make that up. It's just unnecessary stress. And I said, think about it this way. Like, you try your best to get a good grade in science. She struggles with science. I struggled with science. I hate it. And it's just, I said, but most people don't. What practical use does science have for the average person in their careers? Only if you're very, very specific niche does that matter. And yet, to get into colleges and get all these other opportunities, you have to have an aptitude for that, even though it's completely irrelevant. So the whole basis of exams and study is it doesn't even correlate to the work we want to do anyway. It's just to feel a need that has a criteria attached to something we do want to do that's completely irrelevant. It makes no sense. If I wanted to study photography, why on earth do I need science and maths and English? These are irrelevant to photography. That's a creative pursuit. So I get pissed off with the whole paradigm of study anyway, the whole set routine of exams, because I don't think it's fit for purpose. I think it's a load of shit, to be totally honest. So the idea that what others would consider as a failure, I don't even consider it a failure at all. I just feel it's a fair assessment of where you're at in your life. Who cares what the result is? So, yeah, with her, I'm trying to show her that, look, relax. Don't keep chasing a freaking impossible target. Your friends are in higher sets of classes. They've been studying consistently throughout the whole high school period. You've had a whole period off. You've really just started settling into school, and now you're enjoying yourself. But now this immense pressure's come. That's really you're struggling with. So it's quite obvious that you struggle with pressure, which isn't a bad thing. It's just understanding your personality. You know, there's no point in her living her life comparing herself to me. Like, I'm really like a freaking wrecking ball. I'm like a bulldozer. You're not a bulldozer. That's fine. You don't have to, just because I'm resilient and strong in this and this and this, doesn't mean you've got to be that. Just relax. Be who you are, you know? And that's really what I want her to be. I never want her to be an example of me. I want to be an example of her, but in a truest form. So I don't care about the results. I care in the sense that as long as she's proud, I'm proud. I don't care what the number is, the result. Like, ours used to be letters, but I just don't care. So I said that to her recently because she's relaxed a lot. I kid you not. Others are studying, she's doing Lego. Others are doing this study, she's not doing it. And then other times she sets it out and she says, right, I'm studying this weekend. It's something her mum wanted to do. She said, no, I'm not doing that. I want to study. So she's doing it when she feels comfortable. So it's not like she's not giving it an effort. She's not bothering at all. But she's doing it in a way that works for her. And I love that. There was another thing. When I was at school, when it's exam season, you would only turn up for your exams. So you're almost like school's finished now. It's just exams go home. With her school, and I've heard some other schools are doing this too, they're forcing the students to stay in school. Now, with her, she's made it clear that she doesn't do well studying like that. She does better on a laptop, is what she said. So she's doing it at home. She can actually take it in and learn. Well, as long as you again, that's what I'm saying. If you understand yourself, that's great. Do what works for you. So fortunately, her mum's embraced that. She's actually agreed and done that. I would have done too. And what we didn't realise is that a lot of the other kids at school parents have refused to take their kids to school too. So even though the school set this rule, apparently only a handful of kids have actually been turned up to school in between exams. And I think that's great because I'm sick and tired of governments and schools and all these creating policies and or forcing students to do this, to do that. They're not your kids and they're not you. So, it's too much of this. But anyway, like I said to her recently, I said, I think I've helped take the pressure off you so you can actually thrive a bit. I said, I'm not taking credit for it all because obviously you're the one that's got to implement it. But considering a few months ago or a month ago, you was having panic attacks and you was really struggling, the pressure was getting to you, you're really relaxed now. One thing I would say as well, I'm not going to take credit here, but I'm just, to a degree, maybe I am. But this is what I'm saying. I do see the influence I have on people. And it's nice to see. So like for my ex-partner, when we met, she didn't have any direction. She was a bit of a mess, if I'm honest. She's desperate to break free from her life to a degree. And she just didn't know what she wanted. And I helped her find what she wants to do with her life. So I was figuring out that she does like art. She likes a bit of creativity in that sense. But really her biggest thing was animals. So we threw ourselves into animals. Because I found out that's what she likes. So that's what we did. We started helping dog rescues. We was doing, so we was adopted. I can't remember what you call it now. Fostering them. So we kept having these dogs in and out of our home, and then we're finding new homes. And she was a big instigator. I was just driving her to the locations, and I wasn't doing the admin side of it. So she would do that. I'd drop her off. She's the one that talked to the people to get the dog, and she'd do the admin to get to pass the dogs on to someone else and all those different things. But I'd obviously have an input. But I supported her wholeheartedly with that. I was the one encouraging that drive. She was not, before we met, she wasn't doing any of that. So I was helping her do those things. And because I'm good on computers, I was helping her with like Photoshop, and then she took to that. She was started making posters and things. So I helped her do those things. Now we're not together. She doesn't do any of that. Doesn't do that. She's gone playing it a little bit more safe, I think. I don't really know. But I thought about it recently. I just thought I was helping, because I think about what I'm doing with my daughter. I'm relieving the pressure off her. But I thought about like my ex, for instance. I thought I was actually helping her follow her dreams, and she's given up on her dreams now that we're not together. That's what it feels like to me. And I thought, only for briefly did I think that. It's not my problem. But I just realized that I do have that influence. I can help people find that drive in their life, to find what it is that's in their heart and what they want to do. But anyway, yeah, just thought I'd touch on it. So I thought, like I say, if we go back further enough into what I've just said there, the trauma we've been through is quite crazy. But I've just added recently to my video, to my page. So we got like images of us when she was a bit younger. I'm not sure the exact age of the photos now. I think I ranged up to about 10 years old. I think it could be between that. Well, really, that's between... Oh, no, wait. This one here was actually family court. She was 7. Because 7 when her mum took her away. 7 is when we first got to see each other. So she took her away just before her birthday in April. So just before she turned 7. And then that was September. This one would have been September 2017. And finally, that's the first time we got back to seeing each other again. And we got like a slush puppy, made out of tongues blue. And then these are like follow-on ones later as the year progressed. So it's about, she's probably about 7 or 8 in that video, in these photos, I think. These are more recent. I think she's probably about 14 in this one, perhaps 14 in this one. Maybe a bit younger there, 12, 13, I think. I don't really know. Roughly. Now she's 16. And it's beautiful. Watching her grow. Watch her develop. As you can see, I take the pressure off her. I want her to see the light. My videos are serious because they're serious topics. In my private life, in the right company, I'm very lighthearted, silly, goofy. Because life isn't all about being serious, it's about having fun, it's about enjoying ourselves, but living in the moment. And that's what she gets from me. Not all the time. Sometimes I am stressed because life isn't fair, and I have to take on the weight of that, process it. So even if she's in my company, it doesn't mean I can detach wholeheartedly from it. Sometimes I want to be fun and lighthearted, but I don't feel it inside. So I don't always feel that energy because I'm still maybe suffering from whatever struggle I'm going through too. But beyond that, we have beautiful moments. Because life is challenging for everybody, It's not always going to be like, oh yeah, I feel great today. It's not the case at all. It can be really demoralizing. But as you can see in the images, I don't think the images lie. You can see the connection we have together. I've always been present. I've always prioritized her. I've always been reliable, and she has loved me for that. So, like I say, the effort I've put in towards her, I tried to extend it to other people to give them the strength and the compassion. But also pick up things that I think are wrong too, So this is us playing in the car. I'm not going to play it now, but yeah, it was a bit goofy in the car. So that was about when she's about 7, 8, I think. I can't remember what age I put here. Yeah, 7 or 8. And this is one actually she did recently. It only come up on my feed yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday, I think. But it said April. So it's only a couple of weeks for her birthday. So this is 15, but really she's 16. She's 16 now, and it was only a couple of weeks. 16. And that's my jacket she's wearing. Expensive, super dry jacket. She came to visit in the winter, I think it was, for Christmas. It was either Christmas or the Halloween one at the beginning of the year. Might be summer even. Anyway, last year, supposed to borrow it. I haven't got it back, and that's my favorite jacket. One of my favorite jackets. Anyway, things I do, But I'll show it. I don't know if I can make it bigger.
Shot at life. Why be unhappy? In any in any sense of your life, whether it be in your personal life, your professional life, or whatever it is, everybody knows the story. It all came to a head, and I was cool with it. I was like, fuck it, I don't need this to make me happy. You know, if I never write another song, I've written some of the best songs, you know, of our fucking eras, you know what I mean?
In the last few moments, the band Oasis has announced a UK and Ireland tour next year, with gigs in Manchester, Cardiff, London, Edinburgh and Dublin.
I've got to say, man, I kind of look at him and I think, you know, good for you, man. You know, he's been amazing.
I don't know what to say. All I can say is I fucking love you. I adore you. We love you.
You get one shot at life.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite obvious there, but I'm so proud of her. Like, her friends, some of them know what she's been through. I don't think any of them will understand the depths of the experience she's had in this life. For her to still be a bright light, an example to her friends, a positive example, a role model in life, it's incredible. Like, she may not get the grades everybody else has got, will getting. You know, she still do the best she can, but it's her perception of the world, the kindness she extends to people, the fun, the joy she brings to them. And I just think all these traits far outweigh any of that. And I've said to her, to be honest, in your life, I don't think grades are going to matter to the path you're on in life, to be totally honest. I think you're going to do better things than any grade would suggest. So I wouldn't even worry. Just do what you can. Of course, she wants to do well, but do what you can. So I've made the point as well. If you look at what I've done, I didn't get the grades at school. I got a B. If you're talking about A's to C's, I got a B in religious education. Didn't even study. I just innately knew all of it. I was always talking. I didn't even listen once. I was always messing about. I just didn't care. And I got a B in religious education. Make that make sense? Then I got a C in mathematics. Again, I've spoken about it in the past. I could only get a C. I couldn't go higher because of the paper I was on. You know, it was either get a grade, don't get graded if you don't reach a C on a higher paper, or the highest you can get on this paper is a C. So I got a C. And then I got a C in IT because I love IT. And then all the other ones were D, apart from an E I got in graphic design, I think it was, because I walked out the exam halfway through because it was a 2-hour exam. Everybody else's was an hour. They just said everybody's doing this, and I just went off with them. So I just didn't care. I didn't even want it. I didn't care. You know, so I can be quite reckless, I guess, but I don't. Do I care? What was that going to do for me? Absolutely nothing. And it didn't, and it hasn't. So I care. But the reality is, if you're talking about A's to C's, I got 3, so I needed 4. So I didn't get the course I want to do at college. But who gives a shit? I've passed a university course in computers. So I passed that course at college. I passed it. They said, right, you can go on to the computer programming now. Nah, I've had enough. I didn't want to stay at college anymore. I got an apprentice junior accountant position. I started doing a lot of work for them. I started taking on more responsibilities. I was only getting like £40 a week. I had to do 2 days at a college, getting a bus back and forth. I had to get exchanged. I had to get a bus from my home to town, and then from town I had to get a bus from there to a different direction. And then all for £40 a week, doing that. Plus, I think we've got a bus pass as well, so the bus weren't costing me. But still, all that sodding about. And then the 3 days a week in the office doing I think it was 2 days, 3 days. I think it was that. But I was getting more and more workloads. The accountants, they gave me my own room, own computer. Then they started telling me to make phone calls to chase some creditors, debts and stuff. I thought, this is crazy. I'm doing, I can't remember what you call it all now, but it was the ledger was like making sure it all matched. I'm having to do photocopies. I'm having to do all this. I was started doing a lot for £40. Now that could be a career, of course. But even if you'd say, let's say I stayed there, I only got 3 good grades at college. The others were D's. I had to do an intermediate college course. I didn't go on to the advanced courses. And I still had the door open for me to potentially do accounting. It's only because I left that I'm not an accountant. But I was really doing well for this person. I could have done great. Load of money. So I gravitated to warehousing. But anyway, when my daughter was born, 2010, I decided, I want to start testing myself a bit more. I want to do good. I want to be proud of me, especially for her. So I did a computer course. I was going to do a degree in computer programming, computer science. And I passed the first course, which was a programming course. It was actually really hard for me, like, to be honest, because there's some people who are used to coding and things. They found it easy. Me, it was new to me. So I'm trying to learn it as I go. They're helping a bit, so you're getting support. And I passed the course. So, okay. Then the other courses were just a bit mad. One was networking, which was boring as sin. I don't want to swear. And the other one was really like high-level maths. And I thought, this is just boring as shit. I can't put myself through this. This isn't even what I want to do anyway. At that point, I was studying for this computer degree, but I was learning web design at that point privately. I was picking it up myself. I knew a couple of people who create websites too, and they did good coding. And I was learning from them as well. So I was picking it up on the go, doing my own thing. If I had a problem, I'd ask them and I'd learn. And I was doing that while I'm doing this studying. And I just thought, I don't really want this anymore. I prefer web design. That's far more creative. It's more interesting to me. More practical too. So anyway, someone that didn't get all the grades at school has got an apprentice job at a accounting position. Obviously, I've gone off, done a lot of warehouse work, different forklifts and all those different things. Then I've passed a university course. And now look at me, I've done 7 books. I'm talking on camera, done audio books. I can create websites now. I've got I do my own thing. I'm like a one-man band now. So who gives a shit what your grades are at school? Okay, it might open the door sooner. Big deal. It's not worth, for me, it's not worth the pressure, the expectation. One of the things I said to my daughter is, it wouldn't have made a difference to me because I didn't even know what I wanted to do until I was later 30s. So you're getting pushed and pushed and pushed. You must be doing this, must be proactive, must keep doing this, keep doing this. But unless you take time to rest and adjust, you can't pivot. So you could be pushed down a path that's completely pointless. You might have to go for a whole thing to be a librarian, for crying out loud. You don't even want to do that shit. But because you couldn't give yourself time to rest and pivot, that's where you find yourself. And then, like, there's a guy I worked with in a warehouse not long ago, and he's got a journalism degree. He's not doing journalism. He's working in a warehouse. He wasn't even operating a forklift at the time. He was still learning to do that. I've been doing them for many years, and I've got all these other things. But he's got a degree. I haven't got a degree. I said to him, what are you doing here? And he said, pays to be money. I said, what are you doing, like the journalism, though? You still applying things? Like, that makes sense. No, I've given up on that. And he didn't even want to finish. He got fed up with it halfway through. It's because his friends were still studying. He just stayed to study with them. And because he got a few rejections when he was applying for journalism positions, he just gave up with it. And I just thought, this is what I'm talking about, though. Like, all this money and time goes towards these studies to say, I did this, and it sounds great. But where did it get you? It doesn't, unless it's something you want to do and you have a genuine aptitude for it, it's not always going to be beneficial of time. Experience sometimes is better. If you look at by the time he got into the warehouse role, I've already got like multiple years of warehouse experience. I've got all these different forklifts. So in terms of like the aptitude for the role they're actually coming in to do, I was already way more advanced. Because on paper, it looked incredible, but it didn't do anything. So I just think, take the pressure off and let people make their own decisions. I couldn't give a crap what my daughter does, honestly. Even if she finished school, like she's looking forward to college, she's got subject in mind. I don't personally see it as her future, but if that is her future in long term, great. But I can't see that being something she's going to want to do for the rest of her life. But we'll see. We'll see. It's up to her. I'm not getting involved. I just let her do what she wants to do, But if she came to me and said, I just want to rest, mate. You rest. I don't care. This is not me not wanting the best for her. It's just, I just want her to be happy and content. And I know what it's like to need rest. Everybody should be resting more, but everybody's going 100 miles an hour because they feel pressured to. So even if she took 2 years out of, let's say she finished college or she gave up halfway through college, and let's say most people say, you must get a job now. I don't care. Most jobs suck. It's the truth. Most jobs suck. People will say, but you should put out it. No, most jobs suck and they're assholes. Most managers, they haven't got a clue. They treat you like crap. They've got a high opinion of themselves. They just treat you like cattle. And okay, it pays your bills, it gives you some money, but you shouldn't have to be miserable every day. And they expect so much of you time-wise. You barely get much of life and you give it all to them. All for breadcrumbs. So no, I don't want that for her. You do you. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't. I don't care. So even if she took 2 years out where she's just resting and finding herself, I'm more than comfortable with that. People eventually get bored. And through having that time to think and be introspective, they start to figure out the things that actually would bring them joy, the things they're interested in. And now all of a sudden, now I know what I'm interested in. That's what I'm pursuing. Well, that's great. Give it a go. So that's the sort of parent I am. It's just you do you. You're not getting pressure from me. The only pressure she'd ever get from me is be courteous. There's no need to be an asshole, you know. So sometimes she look. She's incredible, but sometimes I think she can be a bit blunt or a bit, especially to those she's more comfortable with. She might be a bit rude sometimes, and I just pull her up on it and go, "Well, that's a bit uncalled for." She'll explain it and say, "Oh, well, you do. Well, this is the situation." All right, or yeah, well, just there's no need to be like that. But anyway, there's very few and far between. But I will. It's not like I just sit back and just let things happen. If I think something's rude, like for instance, I overheard a conversation while we was doing a video chat about not letting the dog out. She should have let the dog out, and I listened. I thought, I'm not. I don't agree. I don't agree. I'm on their side too. Like, so I was talking for a bit, and I just said, I'm a bit annoyed with you, to be honest. She goes, why? And I said, well, it's not fair. You can't have a dog needing to go in the garden, and you didn't think to go and check on them because you're so busy in your own little bubble where you haven't gone to check, and now they've had to be like, I'm very empathetic. So she, don't think this the wrong way. But I would naturally put myself in anybody's shoes, or even an animal's shoes. Like, I'd put myself in a position. It's not fair for anyone to be in a situation, even an animal, where it gets that desperate, where they have to maybe go toilet in the kitchen or something, and then get punished for it. Because that's what I thought was happening. So I pulled her up on it. So that's not right. I don't feel happy about it. That's not good enough. That's poor. That's really poor. But she said, no, that's not the case at all. It was different. It was a complete misunderstanding. Like, it was nothing to do with that anyway. So I was like, oh, okay. But again, if it had been the other way, I was ready to sort of lay it on her to say, look, well, that's not how we treat animals, even people, but animals in this instance. It's not what we do at all. So yeah, I do have standards, of course. But anyway, I know we've got digressing here. We've gone way too off top. But again, I hope by talking about things, it sets the tone for other people. Maybe relax more with your children, Keep smacking them and telling them to be this, do this, be that. I said that to her. I said I could have been, not that it matters one way or another, because it's up to you how you define things, but you'll see it with your friends. If they've got bossy, domineering parents, you're going to see the pressure they're under and how unfair it is. But you never get that with me. I just always cheer you on, and I'm always just like whatever you need to do, So you never get pressure from me. So I thought I'd let her know that you don't get pressure from me. And I think personally, I mean, I can't say for sure with certainty, but I think the way I am with her, I think influences those around her. So I think because I'm very much, I want her to be happy. I don't really care about this. This is how we're going to do it. I think because we do live chats an awful lot, and we're always talking. I'm sure it gets overheard, and I don't know if her mum would have been more pressurized or not, but so I can't say 100%, but I think personally they've overheard the way I am with her, and they've decided that's the path we'll also go down this path. Again, I can't say that's a fact, because maybe they agreed, maybe they already had that in them anyway, but knowing their personality and things, I don't think so. But anyway, before we just I've got the camera. I haven't even got a question in mind now, so this is the only problem, because I did what I wanted to do, is just while I'm here, because I'm not always going to create videos. I hope that comes on. Hey, we've got a camera. Right, it is a little bit dark. I probably could turn it up one notch. Might just turn it up one notch. The extremes are crazy. It goes from this one to full brightness, even just with one notch with the exposure setting. Stupid. It's a cheap camera. Camera control. We want exposure up one. It goes a little bit too bright for my liking, but it's probably all right. We'll go with that one. Well, these are my tarot cards. Okay, this is a different area I'm going to talk about. So we've already discussed things about personal growth, the huge annoyances at the beginning of the video with the literalies and shit. Now, it might look like I forgot about it. I don't forget about that. No. No. Let's not go there because it'll annoy me. I always lean on spirit. Now, I don't always need to use my cards because, like I said, I'm very perceptive. So I'm very intuitive. So I know innately what I need to do, how things are likely to turn out, perhaps not in the time frame I expect, but sometimes it is. And it's quite beautiful. Now, I'm still growing in my development, as I always will be. But a few things have happened that have been quite mental. One is my nephew, a couple months ago, was going to have a driving test. And I asked for my cards, and I said to my mum, I don't think he's passing that driving test. And he didn't pass the test. He just missed out. And that's sort of the sign I was getting. Then we got she was getting equity out of the home, and all of me and my siblings were getting some inheritance early, and it was supposed to take like 3 weeks. From this moment she signed something, they said it could take between 2 and 3 weeks. Sometimes it could take a month. But we're going to try and do it quicker. And that was like a Thursday, Friday, or something. And we was talking at the weekend, and she was thinking about the end of May and all that. And I said, I think it'll be in Thursday. I don't know why. I'm just getting Thursday in my mind. I think it'll be in Thursday. All of a sudden, I think it was Tuesday, she gets a phone call, and the solicitors, because it has to go through solicitors, they said the money will be in Thursday. And she come back straight to me and said, they said it's Thursday. And it wasn't even supposed to be that week, let alone the freaking Thursday. So I got that right as well. So you know, with Spirit, I know I'm on point. I could point at, the problem is I've done a load of cards recently. I've got a load of screenshots on my phone. Sometimes it don't work out in my favour talking publicly. I will ask in a minute whether I should share this video, because I did a video recently, and I said before I post it, whether I should post this video to YouTube, and it said no. It's like, I've had a few things recently with Spirit where they've guided me to do something. Either maybe I've bought something, return it, and all these different things. I've always asked, speaking to them, and I said to my daughter recently that people won't realise like how I am with Spirit, because some people don't have any guidance in their life, so they have no direction and structure, whereas I have all of that. But I'm always in tune with my spirit guides anyway. So I see life in a different way to the average person. Some people feel they've got to do this huge ritual with religions to receive a sign. What you don't realise is we've all been assigned spirit guides. It's just leaning into them, and getting natural with it. So now I just talk all the time. I'm just randomly talking. Even if I do something wrong, I know I did that wrong. I should have done that. Because I know we're all together. We're all a team. I recently said as I was about to go to sleep, I said, I love you guys. You know, I know we sometimes have a bit of battle against the wits here, because, you know, I want something else to happen. They've got something else planned. It's just the way it is, the way my life is. And I said, I love you guys. And then, I kid you not, I had a YouTube video, TikTok, because I get tarot videos all the time. And in the morning, one of the first ones I got was, your spirit guides love you. I was like, oh my God, what are the odds of that, man? But I get a lot of videos on TikTok, and it changes with waves. It changes in my seasons of my life. And it's been like that since my journey, since my breakthrough. And I kid you not, it aligns. It aligns to the cards I pull, the feelings and thoughts I already have, and the outcomes. And right now, the two predominant ones I've got is, and I'll explain it. One is a famous person's aware of me. Now, the views and everything wouldn't signify that at all. But my books did sell all at once, actually. One sold earlier in April, I think it was. And then a couple of weeks later, the rest of them sold. Well, not my personal trauma ones, but the spiritual ones and personal growth. They all sold. All from the same country, each different book. I was like, okay. So I asked my cards, because I was acutely aware that this could be what this situation is. And it said yes. So again, I'm getting confirmations of these things. And there's a massive career breakthrough, perhaps about to happen. Again, if you look at the circumstances, that would seem impossible. All the signs I'm getting is that that's happening and imminent. And a lot of things happening with me around moon cycles, which I didn't realize earlier in my path. But yeah, everything happens in that. So when there's a moon cycle or something, all of a sudden swift change. Another one is about a past person is potentially reaching out to me. You know, I let these things go. You know, I don't obsess about them. But I asked for my cards. I don't want to give too much away. Again, I'll ask Spirit. Spirit thinks I've said too much. They'll block the whole video because they'll tell me not to post it. I said, is this the person I'm still supposed to marry in this lifetime? And it was yes. And I kid you not, every time I mention this person, I either got the Lovers or Two of Cups. And I asked about 3 different questions. Oh, my phone's on charge. I can't get it. I'm not going to ask the same questions now. But I'm saying for me, my life, I know everything. I know when a career breakthrough's coming. I know how it's going to happen. I know when there's a romance on the way. I know when this is happening, when this is happening. I'm just always in alignment. So, you know, it's not for me I'm not convincing people of anything to say, oh, believe me and do this. It's just I'm showing where my confidence comes from, and I'm showing where I am and what I do. And it's just leaning into your guides. The more comfortable you get with it, the more signs you're going to get, and the more you're going to feel the answers anyway. And then you'll get beautiful responses like I do. So like I always say this, and I said it in one of my books, is I can't bring spirit to people. I can open the connection so you can understand it a bit, but it's for you to do it yourself, you know? You can't expect people to hold your hand and do every part of the process. I don't know someone else's guides, you know? I know mine. I can sometimes ask my guides about someone's situation and say about this and that, but I prefer to ask about my circumstances because they're here for me, you know? So sometimes I will ask and sometimes I won't because I just think it's not really for me to be intervening with that. It's not my business and it's not really something I need to bother my guides with, and they may not even know the answer to it. You know, they know everything about what I'm doing. So what I'm going to say is, before I started this video, I was talking about whether I should do this video or not. I wasn't asking anything, and I got a tower card come out. So the tower's like a no card, and I thought, oh god, I might be calling this for nothing. But we'll ask at the end of the video whether I should post it, and we'll see. Otherwise, everything I've done up to now wouldn't even be heard anyway, so it doesn't even matter. What should I ask? What would the average person who watches this video think of the video? Ooh. Three of Pentacles. That's the work that goes into things, you know, the hard work. I often see it's a bit more negative, but it isn't as negative as I perceive it to be, because he looks really fed up in it. Like, you're really fed up, you're working hard. But it's someone that's working on their craft. You know, they're getting things done in the process of creation. And that's what they're seeing. So the average person, that's why I said average, because if I say specific, it's going to be, like I said, polarizing. Some people will like what you do, some people won't like what you do. But those who, the average person, will see the growth. It's the work that goes into things, and I like that. Yeah, I like that. Back of the deck was exhaustion. I think it was the ten of swords. I don't always use the back of the decks, but I was tempted, but I thought, no, I won't do the back. Back is current energy, by the way. So, yeah, I am exhausted. Trying to think what else to ask, because I just really want to open the connection to spirit to people, though, and then it's people to gravitate that to themselves. You don't need decks, you don't need all that. You can. It's about like following your feelings, you know. What do I feel for me, not what people are pressuring me to do. You know, I've turned down jobs, by the way, even recently, and it's costing me a lot of money per month to be the way I am. But I can't be any other way. I can't box myself into rules. There's certain parts of the contract I didn't like. The distance was so far. The hours, by the time I get home, it's like I barely got any time for myself. So I'm living for these people. It's like I'm not doing that. If I'm poor as a consequence, then that's the path I'll pick. And I'm living that, man. I can't do it anymore. I've had too many years in my life where I have, and it's just you settle for it. But I don't have the capacity to settle in life like everybody else does, because people just conform. And I just don't have that in me. But if you want something better for your life, it's like you have to insist on change. So again, that comes from tapping into ourselves, isn't it? And what we want for ourselves. But then it's been in its purest form. I was talking to my daughter recently about the cards. I said, she pulls her cards, calls me, and then asks me to decipher the cards. And I said, you need to learn to start doing that for yourself, though. And she said she can't because she always makes it how she wants it. I said, I don't understand how you can even do that. If I'm asking my guides for an answer, I'm not asking them to sugarcoat it. Whatever it is, it is. It's not what I want it to be. So if people, I think maybe that's why I hear like a lot of people can't do readings for themselves, but I don't understand that. I just take out. I don't think about what I want it to be. It's like, what are you telling me? You know, I can take bad news. You know, so yeah. I haven't really got any questions because I've asked a million. Really, I don't really want to keep probing the same things. They don't like repeating either. My spirit guides are like me, and this is the thing you'll learn. Mine don't like to repeat very often. I have to actually explain why I need them to repeat it. And it's the same way I'd be with me. Like people would have to be with me because I'm quite stubborn too. So my guys are very much like me. It's quite crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't force these. I don't shuffle any harder than I am normally. People might think, why is it taking 20 shuffles? Think about it this way. The cards are in a certain order, aren't they? And every time they smack around like this, they're in a certain order. So the more you shuffle them, the more the cards are going to come out. So if you ever have 3 come out together, you think, bloody hell. And it's took 20 shuffles, though. It's like, but they weren't going to come out in that order unless they were on that combination. That's how I see it. So I don't really care how long it takes. It's waiting for the right cards to be together. So you have to start smashing the cards and get more anxious. You know, I'm just shuffling my cards. If a card comes out, it comes out. Oh, was I talking about my guides? Yeah, I was talking about my guides and the fact that well, anyway, I'll do this. That's like a boss energy, you know. Someone who knows their worth. But yeah, and that's intelligence. So yeah, again, that's what I was saying about, wasn't it? It's like I'm strong enough in my mind to allow the message to come through. You know, it's not a weak energy, is it? It's not a weak energy where I need it to look perfect for me. No, I don't need it. I just want the truth. It's all I ever want is the truth. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do next, to be totally honest. I don't know if they're going to answer me because I've already asked a million times through my other videos. Not videos, my other readings I've been doing privately lately. I've asked what they, again, I can only, they'll probably keep what's this do? I mean, I could sit there shuffling them and you can see what comes out. I'm just going to say what happens. You know, if people trust me, they trust me and don't. I did say recently, like when I did after all these things about career and I did one about romance and all this other stuff. And then I just said, like, before I put the cards away, is there anything Spirit wants to add? Like, tell me that I, want to tell me. And I got I think it was 8 of Wands and something else. I can't remember what the other card was. And I just thought, I wonder if that's in relation to romance or the career, because that suggests something moving fast. And with this person individual, it's like they've broken free from a relationship. This is from what I know, and I haven't even spoken to them for a year. They've broken free from a relationship. They're starting to look in my direction, and they're going to take action. And I don't know if I should give too much information away because I don't want Spirit to block my video. I'm not going to give everything away. I know potential future. I understand the connection. I understand the destination. I know a lot about this connection already. I'm not going to say it because I don't. If I ask them at the end about the car, whether I should post a video, if I've said even one thing that they don't want in public, I'm just going to get no, and it's going to ruin my whole video. Likewise with career, I've suggested about this person and that like how this situation's going to come. I know roughly. I've even mentioned about celebrities in general. Like, I'm not a big celebrity sort of person, but there's some people I admire, and I'm just curious when I meet that person. It's not like when I meet them and I'll go all fanboy. That's not the case. I wouldn't be at all. I would just, it'd be just, you could admire their talents. I wouldn't be like one of those people. I wouldn't act any different just because I'm familiar with who they are. It'd just be me as me. It's not like some weird version of me that exists. It's just, it'd be nice to be around people you admire, I think. It's just because you understand their qualities, So I just said, will I meet this person? Will I meet them in person, so and so in this lifetime? It was yes. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I thought that'd be a fire at the left field to some of these people. I was like, nah, before I even ask. And it's, yeah. I'm like, well, okay. I don't know what I'm going to be known for because I keep getting that. You're going to be famous. You're going to be this. You're going to do this. You're going to be wealthy. You're not going to worry about money anymore. And I'm thinking, I don't even know what for. Like, for what? Like, at what? I have got signs about a book deal. There'll be a book deal or something. I think I don't even know how that's going to happen because I won't submit to anyone. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing submissions. Even if it's like £1 million, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving someone a blurb and this and try and convince them I'm worth it. I'm not doing that shit. I've done the work. I'm not doing it. I'm not groveling to anyone. So that's the thing. That's why I look and think, I don't know how that's going to happen because I'm not groveling to anyone, to anything. But we'll see how life comes out, of course. Like I said, I could be asking the questions here. I'm at the bottom of the deck, freaking independent. That's pentacles. That's wealth. But yeah, I don't want to bother them the same bloody questions, and sometimes I haven't really got a question on my mind. Yeah, I haven't really got anything in mind. I haven't, because I don't really care about a lot of things, Part of me's thinking, only because I'm trying to come up with questions. I just thought, I wonder if so-and-so thinks about me, what this person thinks about me. But genuinely, I don't really care. So I struggle to ask the question. So I can't bother to ask that. Like I said, I already know the result for career to a degree. I don't think it's that far off, even though it seems impossible. But if I've learned anything, it's like anything's possible, no matter how far-fetched it's may seem. And the romance, whether it happens or not, it's not really in my control at this point. So I just let it play out. But from my understanding, it will be very successful. But at the same time, got to let things happen naturally. Oh, that's a bounce. I don't know what it was. Oh, you can't see it. Yeah. One thing I've learned in life is don't force things. That's a harsh lesson for me because I'm someone that likes to just get things done. yeah, you got to let time make things happen, really. Yeah, I'm really not going to do too many cards, to be totally honest. As you can see, nothing's coming out because I'm not asking or thinking of anything. Oh, that came out. Oh. I don't know what the King of Cups is a lot of the time, because I know the Queen of Cups is very... intuition, you're in touch with your emotions and things. This one's probably a bit more stoic. Is a bit more guarded, perhaps. Maybe even knowing your worth, I guess. I mean, I haven't really gone to the depths of the King one, to be honest. And that's the thing. I don't know all the tarot cards. I know a majority of them. And I know definitely whether something's a yes or no. And I know roughly the meaning there. But even without the cards, I would sort of already know the answer. If you know what I mean, in different ways. So, I've had very gifted people in my journey who've just said, like, for instance, there's a lot of very gifted individuals that won't be using cards in the future, because you don't need them. I thought, yeah, probably. But it's a nice thing to have as a tool, as a guidance, and really help other people. But it also shows a pattern as well, a little bit easier. But overall, I already know my answers too. So I'm guessing this one's about career. Oh, yeah. It's coming upside down, but I don't know if it's supposed to be upside down. So let's talk about Three of Cups as community, but it maybe as a lack of community, because he did come out upside down, weirdly enough. The way it was like perfectly upside down. Currently a lack of community, but I don't know what it's referring to. Wasn't that about tarot cards? Yeah. Ah, sunshine. Oh, that's the happiest card. That's happy. But it's also someone that can gravitate, isn't it? Someone can be shining a ray of light. It's also light for people. Let's do this one. Will I help more people than I know in this lifetime? Oh, shit. Well, we've got a negative one here because this one's very... This one's, weirdly enough, actually, this is where it started. So this all bounced after. This one is feeling dissatisfied. I put a lot of work in for the years. And I've got nowhere fast. It's like quicksand. That's what it's felt like. Quicksand. Why am I even bothering? Sometimes. That's what they're suggesting. Now we've got all these other cards, but it's a lot, and I don't really like it when you get a lot like this because it could bloody be anything, isn't it? Right. So I think it's showing like a timeline, really. So we've got the death card, which is transition. So out with the old, in with the new. So it's a whole new cycle, new situation. Then we've got recognition. So it's public recognition, potentially fame, spotlight, success. That's what that is. It's quite a very prominent card. People would love to have that card. As you can see, riding through the thing. But then there's like heartbreak, setbacks, loss. Then you got finances at a complete standstill, which kind of like doesn't make sense. We've just got, you're doing really well for yourself, but nothing's moving. Like there's no love. If you look at that, it's just heartbreak and frustration, really. Everything's frozen in time. There's none of that. And yeah, despair. The shadow box. Actually, I think that one is the devil. Is the devil 15 or 10? But anyway, you're in despair in that one. Perhaps even addictions and things. You having to stand your ground, but very intuitive, kind at heart, so nurturing, and a massive foundation shift to actually receiving an opportunity. So will I help more people than I realize in this lifetime? Well, it's not really suggesting that, I wouldn't think. I mean, the two cards really, they've got Six of Wands and the Queen of Cups, but the Page of Pentacles. Maybe it's just pointing towards the potential for it. What comes next? I mean, we ended on this. What's on the back of the deck? Current energy. Ah, current energy is charismatic. Someone who's very attractive, not just physical attractive. You know, like attractive. People gravitate to you. So charisma. All right. And don't forget, the question was, will I help more people than I realise? And I think in my mind, I'm sort of thinking I will help a lot of people anyway. Like if you talk about like what I expect to do in this lifetime, I do expect to have success. I do expect to reach a lot of the people that need help. That's the whole point, is that you do what you do to help people, and it's there for a reason. So it stands to reason that you're going to have a contribution on the world. Yeah, I've just got no questions. I've done everything in terms of career, like where I'm going to have to travel and all that shit. Just trying to think of something I wouldn't know, and then I can ask it, because there's no point doubling down on two things I've already asked. But really, this isn't really for me to prove any of the answers anyway. It was really for me to show the ways in which we can connect to our guides. Like, this is my connection to my guides, you know? I can't say what's going to absolutely work for someone else, because I don't know how deep the connection is, or what's supposed to happen for their life, you know? Some people, maybe perhaps they're supposed to be unguided for a reason. So all I know is for me is that when I think something, or I have a question, or something profound is happening in my life, I get synchronicities everywhere, like numbers, but also my TikTok just takes a change. It goes crazy. It really does. It just goes 100%. I don't like the videos. They just keep getting one after another of them. And then I'll ask questions about it through my cards, and it will confirm exactly what it's been saying. And I'm like, this is insane. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I've been waiting for that, or I'm expecting that. That's about, I can see that happening. Even though my circumstances don't say it. Because even if you went back and said about the inheritance I had, I was struggling just to have food in the cupboard and things, you know. I was struggling like crazy. And out of nowhere, an opportunity was coming, and I had signs that it was going to happen. And then it happened faster than we expected. It was just sped up like crazy. Something that wasn't realistically supposed to happen yet happened so fast. So if anything, that's a sign that things can improve. I don't want to go too far, because if I'm going to ask now. Should I post this video that I'm recording right now? Should I post this video to YouTube when I finished? I'm open to God it's a yes, because I don't want to do all this work for nothing. Oh. 7 of Wands is resistance. That suggests you're fighting your corner, you know? Well, they could argue stand up for yourself, but that's not really a question I ask, is it? I'm saying, should I post it to YouTube? Right, leave that one there. Maybe it's giving him a different opinion. Please give me one card, yes or no, post to YouTube or not. That come out fast. Oh, shit. And I don't know if that's in reversed. But we got the King of Wands. Now, if you get to talk about positive, negative, this is an absolute positive. In reverse, perhaps it's negative. But then if you're going to give me a negative card, you give me a negative card. Why would you turn a positive into a negative? Which kind of goes hand in hand with this. I think what it's suggesting is, yes, you can post it, but it might not go 100% your way. Let me see if that's right. Have I interpreted this message correctly in the fact that I can post it, but it might not be received by everybody particularly well? Is that correct? Oh, shit, I've got too many. Well, yeah. I mean, it's all yes cards. So we've got Ace of Wands. People probably not going to like the beginning of the video, to be honest, because I'm calling people out. The Innocence, Page of Cups. Then we've got the Queen of Swords, setting boundaries, knowing your worth. So, should I post it? Carrying a lot of weight on your shoulders. And then fast communication, something coming in quick. So I think the resistance, the reluctance is on their part. it's probably the beginning of the video where I was really going in on the literalies. I tell you what, I've got questions now. That was the Queen of Cups at the bottom there, actually. Am I correct in saying that it's the beginning of the video that could cause, where I talk about literally and basically for quite a while? Is that the part of the video where Spirit's concerned that the video won't be received well? Truth. Yeah. So people might not get past the first 15 minutes, but that's not my problem. As I've said all the way through this video, I just don't care. So if people are going to take exception to that, his finances might freeze, he might fit roadblock, I don't care. That's the thing with me. I could be on the precipice of a breakthrough. Precipice of a breakthrough. It could be like your door's going to open, you change your life. And maybe I say I'll do one thing that ruins everything. I don't care. If I feel justified and it's something that I feel like I need to do, I'll do it. So like status, none of that shit means anything. I'd love to have a beautiful life like everybody would, but I'm not going to limit me. So if people are going to take exception to me for whatever reason, then that's up to them, innit? I don't blame them really. 15 minutes of me waffling on about literally and basicallys and stuff, but it's part and parcel of the video. I could delete that and I bet I'll get a beautiful video, a better response. But it's the video, so it's growth, isn't it?